Hey, welcome everybody to Thursday edition of the Three Beards podcast. Got two really cool guests coming on here. First off, we're brought to you by ERT Radio, ERRT Radio. Go to Mixlr.com, set up your account there, follow ERT Radio, and then you can listen to our show as well as Into the Outer Realms, Dimensions of the Supernatural with Maureen, and then Ron's got some lineups of where he does his own interviews and plays some music. So check them out. Great sponsor for the show. Appreciate ERT Radio. So tonight, Sir Brian, he ended up getting a couple of guys for us that I'm looking forward to really talking to them. Evan B. Stone and Jack. These guys are. They are pretty much, if you've watched anything on TV, these guys are involved in. I mean, so it's you go through. I mean, sci-fi, just destination. I mean, any place where they show someone with Bigfoot, paranormal. Some of these guys have been involved in it. They've also got SVC, Explorers of the Unknown. You can find that on YouTube as well as TikTok, and they've got lots of things there. Just follow them ourselves. And I said once again, while you guys are there, appreciate the shout out from you guys on doing that there on that. That was really nice of you. So what we'll do is we're just going to get right into it because we got lots of questions for them. Like Willy Wonka said, so little to do, so much time. Strike that, reverse it. And that's what we got. We have got to get this thing going, and that is right now. Welcome to the Three Beards podcast. My name's Craig, along with Austin and Chris.
Passed to a new generation of Americans born in this century.
Let me out.
I'm afraid that is right.
Justice and honor in Massachusetts colony?
So gentlemen, Chris made it. Or as he's going by. So.
Cha.
All right, so Cha has joined us finally after his long absence.
Yeah.
So what's with the CH? Could you just, the RIS was just too much?
Yeah, it was too much. I was just trying to get here. I tried to figure out why y'all were trying to exclude me tonight. I'm like, the link wasn't working.
It's not our fault you don't know how to click a link.
Were you on a show?
The guests below us were able to click that same link just fine, but not the guy that's part of the podcast. So, yeah, we'll give you a tutorial after this. All right. So at this time, the special Thursday edition, let us bring on Evan B. Stone and Jack Vaisey. How are you, gentlemen?
There we go. Get your little applause going there.
How's it going?
You guys got that sick intro, made me feel all like, ooh, let's get into some stuff. Yeah,
I appreciate that. Yeah,
I like that name. It's what's the symbol? It's like
See
a.
the spell, man.
I know. I know.
You know?
I just this one. It's like the RIS was just too much. You know, you just type the CH and you're like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
Click.
That's actually my
Christmas is
initials,
over.
though.
Yeah.
There you
So
go.
it's no. Well, welcome to the show, gentlemen. You guys are the powerhouse over on TikTok. My God, 218,000 followers on TikTok as of currently. That's impressive numbers.
Oh yeah.
We're blowing up, and you know what? Me and Jack and we just teamed up. He's a live TikTok, pretty much a like expert star. This guy commands. He's out there with 20,000 people at a time doing live ghost hunts, and I come from the storytelling TV world, doing these paranormal shows. We got together, and we're just having fun.
Yeah, it's been a blast. Honestly, we picked Evan up from the airport and we just hit the ground running. It was like not even 45 minutes after I picked him up from the airport. He's like, "Take me to a location," and we started driving. And he's like, "Holy crap! This is where people go to hide bodies. Like this
Yeah,
is
I
not
know.
a
Yes.
creepy place."
Yo,
Like,
it's
welcome to
upstate New
Northern
York.
Syracuse, man. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm from New York City. We'd call those folks like a name, the way up high in New York State.
We're
We'd
Southern
like,
Canadians.
And
yeah.
Cal, he just commented down here, and that was the thing. I was before we started the show. That's true. I just prior to coming onto the thing, I was outside watching the launch of the SpaceX Falcon Heavy
Oh wow.
that just launched that satellite. So as I'm looking at watching the clock, I'm watching the thing lift up. I'm watching the booster fall off and then start to right themselves to land. And I look at my watch. I'm like, oh crap! I gotta get to the show. And so
Well,
I'm
we're going to use that technology, that the Starlink system on our live show, because that means we can go. I can take my Expedition Unknown, that adventure travel, get the weirdest places no one goes to, and now we're going to do some ghost hunting there. And to get there, we need cell service. So we're building out this kind of like a rig that no one's seen before. That's going to be like a backpack, because only Jack and I filmed the show. So it's and we also film us doing it, and we're teaching people how to do it at the same time.
I mean, today, especially with you guys filming, I mean, how cool is it with the way technology is advancing? Just the options that are here now that weren't just a couple years ago. I mean, because I was watching a show. Well, probably when the world left. When the world left, I think is that when the world left us. It just came out on Netflix. Everybody's left us behind.
Yeah,
Is it when?
that was the one where that secret QR code is for?
Yeah, and that they did a couple of shots. And you can immediately tell it's all drone. It's all set. You're watching anything. And I was just like, how cool is that shot now? Because now you don't have to have a helicopter or rigs. You can actually just have a drone following the car as it's going down a driveway.
Yep.
And what you guys were talking about, now you're doing these, you guys could literally have drones filming you from above, doing your walk as you're filming. You've got all these shots. And I'm like, God, technology is awesome right now for filming.
It's made for this content creator kind of movement that's going on, multi-billion. Boy, that's why Adobe, a product I use, they have an edit product. Everyone's going AI, and it's to make it's like all for me and Jack. It's like everything so we could do this show at 2 people only. And we're not doing it because like I don't need help, don't worry about it. Man, when you're dealing with paranormal investigations, you want to be quiet, especially Bigfoot stuff. And you want to be just get out, we slippery, we 2 people, we go out. That's it. No, like, yo, battery, yo, when's lunch?
Yeah. Craft service.
Yep.
Craft service.
Well, I've just, and that's one of those things too, as you guys have done these things, that's the part, because everybody, when you watch like the old school researchers, that's the thing they always like. They like to be, as they say, the boots on the ground. They like to just go out in the woods and just walk around. Well, now with the ability, you guys, like you said, that I can only imagine what that rig's going to be like. I'm picturing like a Ghostbusters pack on my, right now in my head.
Right there.
Yeah, So I'm just picturing, picturing the thing, just pulling up an Ecto 1, and just walking out in the woods.
I mean, this used to be a proton pack. I used to do so I do cosplay and I raise money for Make-A-Wish Foundation. So this is an Alice frame pack that's actually one of the original parts of a proton pack. But we turned it into one of the DT packs and put a camera. We got a police body cam up here, GoPro chest cam, everything, and that's how we film. I mean, it gives you that like Blair Witch Project kind of look where you see
That's
the
right.
reaction to the face, but shooting outwards.
Now, does that camera in the back, does it do a 360 or is it just mainly like a 180
We're working
forward
on
facing?
that right now. Actually, we just got some equipment that we're going to attach that it actually has a AI where it will follow if there's something moving in front. So I'm going to attach it to that.
A 360
I was
IR,
thinking
you're right.
about that. Yeah.
When we go live, we should have a VR version at the same time that people can look behind us. Because
that would be cool. VR would be cool.
That's
It's like
thanks for the idea.
Yeah. There's a camera. I think it's called X360 or X3 or X1 360.
It's small. It's 350.
It's really
it's like,
small.
Yeah.
You just got to hook it up. If you can hook it up and you can charge the battery on the wand, add it to that, and then you can keep another battery pack in there to keep it constantly charged. And you got the 360 because you'd edit it afterwards.
I mean, I almost have that up as a probe. Don't go too high so you're not hitting branches, but it could cover all the way around you while you're like, even if you're sitting for an EVP session, that 360 camera's covering around you, that things you can't see behind you. And that's where they learn.
We just to jump in it, we're just getting into it. Our concept of storytelling is we do a multi-series on YouTube that explains and is a good show, like a TV show, quality, but YouTube style, which is a little bit rougher because there's two of us, and we tell a story that leaves a bunch of questions that are that need to be answered. But meanwhile, we have these locations: the bridge, the graveyard, like all these locations that things happen, and it's amazing. And then we find trigger objects, we find things, people's names now. We do during that filming, we get that research done, and then we interact with our audience. And then when we go live at those locations, right? For like, okay, here we know her name. We pull out the item. We ask the right questions. We set ourselves up to win. And then the audience is meanwhile live. They're asking questions, they're looking at, and it's all funneled to another website that has multi-cameras. And the audience is like, oh, in the field, I saw something. And I'll be like, cool, rewind that, put it into, or the EVP, like, hey guys, chime in. We heard something, So it's live. And Jack does this. This is not new.
This is something I've done on TikTok for years with a lot of my followers. When we have them watch, I say, hey, when you see something in the comments, put a timestamp. Let me know when you saw it, where you saw it. And that's some of the best stuff I've ever caught was, some of the stuff they've sent me. I've even had people send audio clips, video clips to me and said, hey, did you see this? And I didn't. And sometimes I can debunk it. And sometimes it's insane.
Yeah,
how cool would that be? Like you said, with that camera on your back, where you could basically have an army of people watching your six as you're walking through. They'd just be like, "Oh my God, right there, behind you."
Yeah, that live aspect is awesome, but it's also great. From day one, I've been doing the research. We just throw raw video up, and then I have to edit. I'm the one that's sitting there with the headphones and edit. But we want everybody to be the investigator, and you're actually doing it live, which is awesome. So,
yeah. And the website's going to have a lot of, this is conceptual, but it's actually, we're doing it now. The story we're dealing with is pretty like historical. So we like history. We like digging up history. And, we kind of say we're telling history one ghost story at a time, so the unanswered questions that aren't in the books that we go research, those extra things that are just missing, we ask the entities, we see what comes out of our investigations on another level, and we get experts to help too.
So how would you even guess, Craig, that he was going to use a Ghostbuster pack? You were like dead on. He was like, I can picture this, and then he's like, it's behind my head.
Who knows? Maybe it was just I was picking up on the object behind, but I was just the whole time. I'm picturing when he said we're going to pull out our packs, we're going to go out there. I'm picturing, just here we go, like Ghostbusters. They're just going out there. It's like
what's funny is the first time that we had ever got
saw.
The truck. I made the comment. I said, "Okay, so we're heading out here. Let's show this prehistoric bitch how we do things downtown." And he looks at me, and goes, and I'm like, "Yeah, let's go."
Yeah, Jack actually has like this big rifle suitcase. He opens up, and it has, what does it have in it, Jack? Let's talk gear. Yeah.
It has pretty much, it's the candy shop with paranormal gear. There's parabolic mic. There's a K2 meter EVP recorder. Motion sensor, geopods, battery packs, GoPro. It's got everything. I
vo-
mean, if
was the
I had a
ghost
movable webcam, I'd bring you over, but
the voice, but the thing that makes it speaks to entities.
the
What is
SB7
that
spirit
thing?
Oh,
box.
the SP7.
So
Yep.
yeah, the SB7 is insane. When I first started using it, I was like, "What the hell?" Because there's been some intelligent responses, and in this episode 5 that we're going to be releasing, there's some responses that even Evan was looking at me like, going, "What? Like,
You
are you
know,
kidding me?"
I'm
I'm like,
still in New York, bro. I'm like, oh shit.
Well, you know what?
He's like, "Wait,
That's
can
what's
we
great
swear
about it.
on here?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Dude, we're gonna swear. This is a part
Yeah.
of ghost hunting. There's
Yeah.
realistically, it's gonna
Yeah,
happen."
you get that all the time. But what's great about it is that's what I love about the show. First of all, it's filmed beautifully. It's great storyline that you're doing right now. And I like the real reactions because Evan, I mean, like it's freaks people out. And I'll tell you, I've said this before. When you're even if you're a seasoned investigator and you go out in the field and you have a 9-10 foot bipedal cryptid that's not that far from you, nobody's a hero at that point. It's a defense moment, you know.
I always say I did Finding Bigfoot the first season. I did the pilot, the sizzle reel, everything. And I remember on the pilot, which is kind of like the sizzle turned into a pilot, is we're in Prince William Island, maybe somewhere in Alaska, and this little island, all these bears, and I'm with Bobo, you know, and he's like, "Oh, he's going through it all. I'm gonna knock. I'm gonna do his thing," and he did a call, whoop whoop, and then something called back, and I was like, well, "What's that?" You know, that was like the first time I was like, it broke my like. It's like that's a Bigfoot. And I was like, come on, but I knew no one was there. This place is desolate, and I thought to myself, what if I just come up, like, yeah, I'm gonna go up against this bush that's shaking. Yeah, it's Bigfoot. Yeah, okay. What if it is? What if he's like wiping his ass? You know, he's like, oh, you know, like what is it? Or bear or moose? Come on. So I was like, no, I'm good.
It's the funny thing that you said that, man, because all I could think was I was at a paranormal panel in a comic book convention, and I was having questions being asked, and this kid goes and raises his hand. He's like 8 years old, and I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" And he's like, "What happens if you find Bigfoot?" And I'm like,
Rip your face.
I guess I never really thought of that question. And I was like, that's a good one. I didn't have an answer.
Yeah.
Well, we found Bigfoot all right in upstate New York. There's a couple of good spots we have hotspot wise, but
I mean, I do have a size 14 shoe, but
yeah, you know, this was big. I have a 19 and a half print that we took
really
up up near where is it? CIA, the Culinary Institute.
Oh, Paul Smith's.
Yeah, up near there. And that's one
That'd
one
be
of the
Saranac
spots.
Lake, wouldn't it?
No, that's more in near, I guess, Red Hook and Red Hook area, not Brooklyn.
Yep.
The other Red Hook.
Yeah, so yeah, then there's like Whitehall and stuff like that.
Whitehall's great, but I you know, I have a woman that contacted us in Whitehall, and she sent me some videos that I'll share with you guys.
Yeah.
And it's of her farm, and in one of the videos you see a gray alien in, you know, peeking out.
Alien.
And she's like, you need to tell him to go. And I'm like, lady, I don't tell him to go.
We on our investigation on this bridge, you have a photo of it. We caught a creepy skeleton character, the entity,
That
like
thing still gives me
looking
goosebumps.
behind something, looking like it looks the worst, the scariest thing.
That was like episode 1, right? I think it was.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
2 when we
No, it'd been 2. Yeah, it was the end of 1, came out in 2.
So we're kind of experimenting with formats, and we kind of we want to be like transparent, like we want to be like not a lot of edits. So and so afterwards we look at footage. That's when you find the stuff. When you come home, you look in the shadows, especially with some AI programs I have that open up the shadows and really bring something in low quality to all of a sudden like 4K, 10K. You know, you could just keep zooming in. Yeah, it's nuts.
Awesome.
It's awesome. It's great tools out there.
I mean,
I'm trying to bring this. Was this the one you were talking about with the bridge?
Okay, so let's talk.
yeah,
Jack, why don't you bring us through this?
So this bridge was brought in here in 1898. There was a bridge that was there beforehand that went back before the Civil War even. That bridge was replaced by this one. And basically the story about this area is that There are lights that are seen floating on the water, and there's a lady in white who is seen walking down the dirt road. It basically sounds like an episode of Supernatural. She's seen walking halfway to the bridge, and then she looks over the river and just kind of disappears.
Yeah, so you see that right coming up by the sign.
Yeah, right
Right
there
over
by
there.
the
Look down
on the
really
right-hand
close
side.
at the bottom too. There's like legs and feet and everything. There's a lot of detail there.
Rewind that. Go. Yeah.
What's at the very end of the bridge to the left?
So to the left of the bridge, that's actually a tree stump.
No, if you
That was
look
the
all
first.
the way, all the
That's a
way
tree.
in the bridge, looks like
The
a
tree stump.
That's a tree stump.
But I
What's
did
good about-
find
Yeah.
something else on that same shot, and so let's on the right you'll see clearly
Is like
something
in our
walking,
world.
right? I mean,
Mhm.
I think that
What is
encompasses
that?
A lot of unexplained things.
and that's me talking in the background, actually, just
we're
BSing
not
with
paying
Jack,
attention.
saying, making funny and saying, imagine if they're just doing a whole chant dance out in front of us, and lo and behold, there it is. And as like I'm trained to film everything. Like when I'm in go mode, everything. And we're talking GoPro, my phone in looking that way, GoPro on us. Like it's just we're getting content, we're getting show. I'm in that mode, and we're getting that. That was pretty cool. I never seen anything like that. I swear. If this was Destination Truth or
that was
Expedition
crazy.
Unknown, and we got that full blown, full body aberration, would be like, drop the mic, let's go home.
That would be a killer, because you can see in the when they're walking up, you can see what looks like a long dress from a period piece that's kind of getting exaggerated.
We thought we kind of were thinking it's a dog, but oh my god,
No,
it
it's
could
a.
be
I never
It's
thought about
definitely-
the dress.
It looks like
What?
a woman's dress,
Can
and
we play it again? Can we roll that
Say
again?
that
Because I
again.
want
I'll
to
put
look
it
at this
up.
now with
it
with
looks
that.
like and
Yeah, I'll bring-
as she's wearing like a shawl on top. That's what I got out of it.
Well, that's
It
It
great.
fi-
We
it
thought-
figures that after I take that down here. Here we go.
we
Yeah,
had
go
this like imagination because this area has to do with the Underground Railway, and this is the last stop, the bridge before Freedom, and all these manhunters out there. We're thinking maybe that's one of them with a dog. See, boom, that's that, and then behind it you see something else, right?
I can
On
definitely
the
see where
right,
you're talking
when
about
they
the
s-
dress and then the veil coming off the back
at
and
the
would be
bottom.
dragging behind.
Look at the bottom. It's kind of hard. I'm not, I can't give you a pointer at this point, but it looks like whoever's there is wearing
Oh, you're right.
boots. They're wearing boots. They
like
look like
that.
they have a long dress, and they
Yes.
also look like they have some kind of wrap around them. You can see it's two pieces, and it
Yeah.
would be roughly around the Civil War.
Well,
That
and
kind of
so
mid-
what we
1800s.
just revealed on the show is that Caroline Bonaparte is the lady in white, and Caroline Bonaparte was a part of the Underground Railroad. What would actually happen? The reason I came across this story is a couple of my friends fished down on this river, and one night they were out there and they saw these lights glowing on the water, and they had just turned on their fishing lantern that they have, and as they did that, all of a sudden there was lights floating on the water coming down towards them. So after I talked to some historians around here about the Underground Railroad, they would actually take from the back of Caroline Bonaparte's house onto the Oswegatchie River, which that is, and they would float down by raft. And what would happen is somebody who would let them know that it's safe to land here would turn on a lantern on shore, and they would turn the lanterns on the front of the boat. So I'm thinking that this is kind of like a residual energy because it's seeing and it's just reacting to what it was supposed to do when they were alive. And we think that Caroline's still guiding them to this day down that river, making sure they get to safety and get to freedom because it is one of the last stops. It is the last stop before Canada.
Oh, I know, because I thought there may be a couple more because that's how it worked. But
There's different houses on the way, but the Oswegatchie was it's the reason it's called Oxbow, New York, is because an oxbow is just winding rivers, and it would basically open up to Ogdensburg. So there would be another stop sometimes if they needed to, they would, but most of the time they could make it right to Canada within 30, 45 minutes by
Yeah.
river.
I mean,
Yeah.
the discovery that this area here is, the story is it's cursed, right? It's like and all of a sudden I'm like, this is like Oak Island. This is like a honey hole. We can stay here for a while and get the Caroline Bonaparte story with her helping the Underground Railroad. She's royalty, but she gave it all up. What kind of person does that, right? What kind of person that even now does that? So we started getting into the character, not by history, but just kind of thinking, what kind of person does that in this time period? You know, what do we know about her? What we don't. We go to her gravesite, and guess what? It's a shambles, man. This thing is on its last leg of just being. It was horrible, and I was like, wait, I don't get it. You know, what's going on here? And we got deep and discovered that she wanted to be that way because of her work she was doing with Underground Railway. And guess what? Still happening today. And now we're rediscovering history in a way that is really cool, I think.
I just saw Daphne's quote there. Okay, thinking about trigger items, wondering going down there with an old oil lantern. This one here. Well, that's actually why I picked this one up. This is a REM pod that is looking like an old oil lantern, and
That's
so
cool.
basically, if anything comes over, it's gonna set this thing off.
Wow, that's cool.
Show us your other things. What else he got?
I mean, I got so much stuff. But the Historic Haunts of Waynesboro, who is one of our sponsors, got us this. They build them, and it's great because if you think about it, if you have an entity and you say, hey, you know, come up and touch this object, they don't know what it is. They don't know if it's going to hurt them. They want to see something they're going to recognize, and that's something that they can recognize.
That's Pam and Steve's.
Yes, Pam and Steve.
Pam and Steve, go down to Gettysburg, say hello to Pam and Steve, stay over at the Hoover House.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, do you use electromagnetic generators at all?
We don't have any amps right now. I know Pam and Steve have some, and I was going to talk about getting one from them because I think it'd be really cool to start bringing those around. They're really, really handy. I've used them before.
Yeah, because I've got because I have an SB7. I actually have like a lot of the stuff in a kit, and one of the ones I got is back when Radio Shack was still a thing. You know, you actually got all the parts, and you took a little box, and you actually could hard drive is the best way. Old hard drive, you take the motor out of it, and then you get magnets, and so you put those on there, and then basically as it spins, it has its own battery pack. You know, you have your two AA batteries hooked to it, and it's just a simple switch.
That's why they got rid of Radio Shack, because you can make stuff like this.
Yeah, it was a cool set. It flip it on, and then supposedly the theory is that it's basically the food source for the paranormal to give them something to, instead of doing the thing. Use my energy. You know, you basically just take these, like what they call the EM pumps. You just flip these things on, throw them out there, and just watch them suddenly go dead.
Challenge for the viewers. Someone make it for us.
This is one of the things that we use.
Yes.
This is just like you said. Show a couple. This is a DJI Spark. This actually has a huge spotlight on the front of it.
Oh, that's cool.
Just got the night light and everything. Evan and I are trying to work right now on getting sponsorship to get a thermal drone. So when we do cryptids, especially up here, because we have a couple spots in the Adirondacks. Yeah, the one we're looking at right now is like $14,000.
That's why you need your own show.
No problem.
Sponsors in your own show.
We'll make it happen. We're gonna make it happen one way or the other.
We are sponsored by Tascam. We're sponsored by Tascam, a really professional audio company that professionals use, and we're working with my sound man from Expedition Unknown, Mike Curtis, Hollywood, just like legend, to get certain like EQs and pads that can bring up the volume but take out the hiss, and that's cool.
It's gonna be awesome. The EVPs that we're gonna be able to get with that audio.
Yeah, Tascam, great company, great for recording. I mean, they are probably one of the bigger ones in the recording business, and do movie stuff as well. Something else you may want to use, because visually it's appealing. You can make mini Tesla coils, and they run on 9-volt batteries. And if you can put them in series on that bridge, just as an example, and it would all.
I'd be careful though, because that whole bridge is just metal. I just feel like we'd be the guys that would. We're the next ghost that you guys got to go hunt, because we can electrocute by the Tesla.
It's 9 volts.
I'm just picturing. You see that video where the guy's got the coil and he's like, "Don't get too close," and zaps himself in the head, and he falls backward, just passes out.
I feel like that's how I'd get my hair back, though.
Yeah,
I feel like if I got hit by the
it would
Tesla
work.
coil,
Trust me, it would work. But it's a good visual, because they can draw a lot of energy off of it, and you can hear the static. And if they really deplete it, it'll drain it quicker. So you'll see that visually. You'll see the
Yeah,
dream.
we need to
I
make
love
those.
that
I like
idea,
that.
man. I'm the visual guy. I want to see.
Oh,
What?
yep.
Yeah, but Evan's gonna be the guy that makes one out of a car battery. He'd be like, "Hey guys, I
Don't
made
do the
this."
car battery. Do the 9
Yeah.
volts first.
Yeah.
So,
Brian said 9-volt. I'm going to do a car bat. I want some power.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
he's got this bike, film. He did all these street bike stuff, Evan, for years. So, I would think maybe a street bike, but it's still 12 volts. That'll rock your world.
I'm not good with tools.
We'll figure it out.
Got us. I could build it.
I'm a
Yeah, he's got
pilot.
the Ghostbusters pack behind him. He can do it.
Yeah. Hey, that
Figure
ghost.
this out.
On a ghost trap, we'll make this happen.
We'll talk a little about
So what-
filmmaking here. That Ghostbuster pack isn't a Ghostbuster pack. It's a little camera that looks onto the face of the person. So now if you have a camera and you have an angle on you, you're good to go. You have 2 angles to cut to, your facial expressions and what you're filming, right? All else fails, you can go do a solo mission and film yourself. That's cool.
Careful doing the
and
solo missions though.
That's old. That's Destination Truth, 2009.
I'm just thinking how cool it would be if you could incorporate SLS technology into that too.
That I am working on getting us to. I'm talking because I think Steve and Pam have that stuff too, because they are a sponsor of ours. We've been kind of playing back on ideas, and I know they have an SLS. They actually have one of the original ones, the prototype that from the guy that actually created it for Ghost Adventures. And I got to hold that the last time I was there. It weighed a crap ton. It was huge. I mean, it's made out of the original 360 Connect camera with a tablet, and it's got its own battery source. And basically, they took the program from Xbox that captures figures and used it for ghost hunting. Kind of like a low version of AI, I guess, in a way, because it maps your body and everything.
Have you guys ever used a Tesla for an investigation?
I have not, but now I want to. I can tell you that.
Oh, because for anybody that doesn't know, the camera system can pick up ghosts.
Yep.
If you go to the cemetery, there's
camera.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They've got many videos of people all of a sudden, just kind of like the SLS. It's all of a sudden it's mapping a figure that's out there.
Did you see the AI video that just came out from this guy? And he was it was the facial expression AI where it showed he was happy, showed he was sad, showed he was angry, and it said his age. It could actually tell.
Oh, and it pops up in the doorway.
Like 400-year-old woman behind him, and he's like,
"Yes." I was curious if that was real or if that was just one of those just to give it. But yeah, I mean, how fantastic is that? You just be like, yeah, you're happy, you're sad, and all of a sudden, you got a grumpy ancient behind you in the doorway.
Right.
I had that
and we're getting to that point though.
Yeah,
we're getting to that point of technology where we're gonna be able to see things that, I mean, I honestly think that's why the government finally went with the UFOs and went, here's all the files, because eventually, like cell phones, everything is capturing stuff. I mean, eventually it's gonna get there.
The iPhone from 12 on up is a great piece for investigators. First of all, I still like the Samsung ability for night shots better, but this has LiDAR on it.
Chris, we've been through this many times. It is well documented that a Samsung can take a really nice picture of the moon. The iPhone cannot.
The iPhone doesn't. I mean, Evan does great work with his camera. I mean,
that's my camera now. This is it. You watch his YouTube videos of people like the red camera, same shot, iPhone 15, and they're doing the same shot, and they say which one is. I don't know.
Right.
So that's cool.
So with this, you can do the 3D imaging on certain effects, and then you can save it. We got a mom and child Bigfoot print, and we didn't have any casting material on it. And I'm like, LiDAR.
That's right.
There you go.
We use it as well. It's awesome. Yeah.
We have an app on my Google Pixel. It's called Polycam, and it actually takes a LiDAR 3D image.
That's awesome.
We've done. There's one of the bloody branch that we had in our episode 0, basically is what we call it. And then we actually discovered something on Lake Ontario. Actually, I did a 3D print of that, or a 3D image. It's a large wooden chest that came off one of the ships from the Lake Ontario crashes that are out there.
He was there on a dead low tide.
And we're hopefully we're trying to get permission with metal detectors and sifters and everything, and anything that we find goes to the museum and the historical society that's there.
How cool would that be to discover that?
Well, you gotta be careful.
We got pictures of it.
Yeah.
You gotta be careful on finding stuff on whether it's public land, like a state park, or a private land, and also, with Expedition Unknown, we always use metal detectors and LiDAR from the planes or helicopter. We like strip away forests and stuff. And the metal detector guys, the real experts, archaeologists hate them because they go and find stuff real quick. And then they don't call anyone, and they're just like, "Ha ha! I got riches," and it's like, "Wait a minute!" And then it all, gets bungled because they're,
Well, you brought it up too. Curse of Oak Island. They do that show. I still think the curse is that we've been drug into watching this thing for many seasons and nothing ever happens. I think that's actually the curse. But it's just, the guy that does the metal detector, he's the one that seems to be the only one actually finding anything that's of historical artifact, because he finds the coins, the buttons, that shows us, the rest of the stuff. Yes, we're gonna dig this other hole, and I'm like, oh god, we're gonna find a piece of wood, and that's it. Season finale of this, they're like, oh god, come on.
See, it's hard to do that in upstate New York, because our season finale finding would probably be like a beer can, just because the Adirondacks, unfortunately, are like littered with them.
Yeah, it's that's one of those things, kind of like what we're doing, kind of a little bit on the subject of those things. We talked a little bit before. You sent me some pictures. I can put them up here, because I wanted to ask you, what was one of probably the most either technically difficult or one where you actually felt like this, this was the hardest, dangerous, however you want to phrase it, shoot that I've ever been on?
Yeah, I get this question. This is the first question, and the second one is, what location do you want to be like on vacation? And I'm like, home, right? But the most dangerous, it's a toss up. If people don't know, I work on Expedition Unknown with Josh Gates. I've been on it since season 1. He's a buddy of mine, and when me and him are climbers, and or when it's time to go solo, just me and him, we go up to Amazon. We go, when it's like leave the crew behind type of thing, but not this time. Well, that's the end result. Let's just start at the end and then rewind, right? So this right here. Wait, one more back. This is a hole in a jungle. It's called Tayo's Cave. It's the second largest cave in the world, and if you fall in it, if any animals go in it, it's over, Johnny. You're not coming back, and you're gonna adapt and
over,
branch
Johnny.
off. Yeah, no, it's over.
Done.
And then so it takes 400 foot. This is okay. So this is, I would say, the number 2 most dangerous thing I've done, and I felt like not unsafe, but like holy shit, right? Yeah, a little bit. So it's a 400 foot, not a rappel. You get winched down by, you can see a winch system there, and you get lowered down into this second largest cave in the world. There's these huge chambers, huge, like football fields, 1, 2, 3, and then it goes down like a termite mound, right? Yeah, that's us just slowly coming down it. You cannot climb up. You're done. And we camped there for 3 days, and we went to the furthest reaches of this. We went past where the maps are, and that was our trying to find this metal library. And if anyone doesn't know the metal library lore, in South America, there's this monk in the 20s who came back like Moses with a bunch of stuff, and it's like with all these kind of like alien looking, really metal like tins, really. And he spoke of this, and well, he was there trying to convert people. And, it worked. I don't know what stories he wove, but, the lore is and some of these artifacts started showing up and at that time period and in a museum that we went to. And look at this, God's light. I mean, you think it's so pretty, right? But the reason why I'm standing there where the sun is because the ground itself is moving with cockroaches and these birds that don't see sunlight anymore. So they use echolocation. And it's like, and they're like pterodactyls. They're flying by you. It's dark. It is bats. Like
Ghostbusters to Jurassic Park.
No, I had a panic attack in my tent that night. But if you ever had a panic attack, breathe. It's gonna be okay. You can get out. Well, this wasn't the case. I was in there for 3 days. So I had to really like, oosa, like oosa. Yeah. And we went down we went down like a Goonies chamber, like on our butts. We were some guides, we weren't alone, but there was one part that they blocked this water, put some dirt on it, so this area was not so much water, and we had to dive underneath it, not with tanks, and go like 10 feet straight, but don't turn right or left, because and I was like, come on, this is the Kodak courage. And I was like, but what's on the other side? So I let the dude go first, and then he came back, says, just go straight. So I did. We went down, and it was, it's like, I get this Kodak courage when I film. I'll do anything. Really, it's weird. And then I would never do what I would like straight or whatever. It's like, hey, I dare you. It was never. So I get under the water, and I come out, and it was just like huge mushroom bulbous, like stalactite. It's crystal, sparkling, powdered with these crystals. And I was like, wow, this is why it's so hard, because you come to this place, and that's how magical this place is. And then time to go.
You get that.
And
everybody.
We were there's a helicopter supposed to pick us from the government, but the network said no, something about insurance. I was like, what? And we had to hike down, and it was the hardest day of my life, not only getting out of the cave. Some of us had to Jumar up because the winch wasn't working. And then we had to hike out 8 hours, and jungly, muddy, steep, and I had a bum knee, but I wasn't telling anyone, because how it is. And then so we got rotavirus. It got spanked out of there, and it all ended up in a hospital. Yeah, it was bad.
Wow, so, even in the wild. So when y'all went out there, y'all were out there for a couple days, and you got the old bug.
I got towards the end. You ask why. You're like, shit just drops from the ceiling, but I think rotavirus from human feces. So I don't know. I put the doodle in our mouth. I put the doodle.
That scene is, I mean, like, that would just be 400 feet. That's serious.
Yeah. But it's not doing it yourself. You're getting winched down, which is even more like, I don't trust this thing. Actually, when we first got there, since Josh and I are climbers, we saw the rig, and we were like, no way. Where's the safety? Like, okay, you winched me down, but where's the person on top with an extra rope that's letting it go? And it wasn't there. We had to make it sure it was there, and they didn't understand why. Because that's how we do it.
400 feet.
That's why I should always answer that same question first, because after following Evan, mine sounds like okay.
But that's not the scariest thing that happened to me. The scariest thing is it might be one of the photos. I was in Egypt, and for Destination Truth, trying to find this salawa, this rabid. Basically, I was like, oh, you mean a dog that's rabid? It's mauling people. I was like, oh, that's what we're looking for. So I was in these, Egypt. You don't just, a lot of countries, you don't just go into someone's property in their cane fields and look for this thing. But we got enough clearance to do this cane field. And I come out of the cane field like full Ghostbusters, like with the backpack and I had goggles, and I had like a foam, and I wrapped all this tape. So if the dog comes at me, it's gonna bite it first. I was like, I'm not a dummy. And I come out, and this militia group was there, because the police, it's like each little town has their gang, the clique that's protecting the area, and they were, it was like, and I was like, came out, and I was like, oh no, and I was like, hey, Rami, you need to come. Our fixer was Rami Ramani, who now has a show. He's on Ancient Aliens. He's an Egyptologist. But that he was a fixer at that point in Egypt, and he's like, I'll be right there. And he's like, whoa. And I just ducked out. Like, they thought I was gonna attack their
taking the camera apart. It's not loaded.
And there were AKs, they were loaded. I was scared. I was like, I'm more scared of humans than anything else. And so that was 100%. The most scary thing. Yeah.
I'll just give a short summary of mine. The scariest moment I ever had was me and my friend Eric. We went out to a settlement that was from the 1800s. It's back in one of the state parks in New York. You can see all the stone buildings and everything like that. And there's stories of seeing the spirits walking through the forest that are still in the settlement. And there's also stories of Bigfoot out there. And this is right across from where his family has a sugar shack. So we had to hike with our backpacks and all of our equipment about 2 miles back into the woods. And we get there, we actually built a fire pit and sat around and, you know, had the SB7 going, all of our equipment. We actually set up motion sensor lights around the different parts of the old establishments that are around there, like the buildings and everything. And right about like 2:30 in the morning, we're on TikTok live, and all of a sudden the live just starts malfunctioning, and we start hearing whispering, and we're like, wait, what the hell's going on? And out of nowhere, I thought that was going to be the scariest moment. No, it was when the 2 packs of coyotes, that one pack was like 20 or 30 because we could see them, and the other pack were having a territory battle, and we were stuck in the middle inside of the
Nice.
stone fence thing. So we just like hunkered down. I was like, pour your Coca-Cola over the fire so we can put the fire. We don't want them to be attracted here. So he's over there like trying to put the fire out, and we ended up getting out of the woods. In the pitch black, we didn't use our flashlights. We just went by the moonlight, and we found my truck about 2 miles out, and that was a scary one.
That's a rough spot.
Yeah, there's anybody that's never experienced that. You know, when you've got coyotes and other stuff roaming around, it's quite something, because it's you know, they can see you, but you can't see them.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's right. You know,
a black bear. We had a black bear come in the middle of a cemetery once, 300-pound black bear. And
Nice.
It was Eric again. Every time Eric's with me, I tell him, I was like, dude, I don't know if you bring snacks, if the animals can smell it. Like,
rub
they just
bacon
keep
on your
coming in.
shoes before we go out. Yes.
Yeah, right, exactly.
You know, but I mean, I remember watching in one of the best scenes. What I love about, you know, you guys that first of all, I love your series, the new series right now. I love your work, Evan, on all that Josh Gates stuff, because it seemed, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's just a little bit TV magic, but it seems like everybody that goes out and is with each other is just a big family, and it's fun. And it's fun doing what you're doing. But there was that one scene where the Red Bull guy drops you get out to get that shot, and all those natives come out, and you're like, yo, bro, we gotta get out of here.
Right.
That's when Josh gets off. And then the guy in the Red Bull helicopter says, like, later, boys. And you're like, where the fuck are you going?
That's right.
Yeah, that could be a tough spot.
For people who don't know, we're in Papua New Guinea doing a story on Amelia Earhart's last flight, where some people think she circled back to Papua New Guinea, the last place she was. And we went into the jungle. Only way to get there is like by helicopter. And if you don't know Papua New Guinea, there's no electricity, and there's like 1 million people living in the jungle with no electricity, and it's real primitive, right? And it's like there's hard lines in the sand, like the river, the mountain, and you got these cliques, these gangs. They're like, yo, we're the mud folks, you know, we're the bird people, you know. It's like, and you don't just show up, especially because, you know, they are split with Indonesia, and the Indonesian government is real hardcore. And if there's gold or something, oil, they'll murder the whole village. I mean, this is like, and this is right. So when I landed, so when we landed that morning, it was just a solo miss, Josh and I. And when we're real good together, we're super funny. Like, I know his humor, he knows mine, and everything's just smooth, and we're together because this is whatever happens, right? And we looked in a newspaper, and the Papuan newspaper, and first of all, everyone's all booed up with this red fucking this beetle nut. Everyone's wasted on it. It's like that, you know, it's all red. It fucks you up. And
a beetle nut.
And they did put a line, and then so in the newspaper it said, you know, tourist Achilles heel gets cut. Witchcraft. A village got, you know, blasted by AK when another village came in. We're like, witchcraft. We're like, ha, right, ha. We're like, look at this, Josh. So when we're in the helicopter and we're looking for this village and the coordinates were wrong, and I'm looking down, that's the first thing I thought. I was like, all of a sudden it was like Spidey sense, like it's like, so they saw kind of a clearing, and they landed the helicopter. And my deal is I get out first. And then they go up again and do a lap and come down, right? I'm shooting it. I gotta do a TV show. And so as it's coming down, I zoom through the landing area, and I see these like menace, like a team of menacing natives running up 10 feet back, 10 up. I'm like, and then Josh comes down. I'm like, oh no. Oh, like what? And then I go to Josh and I'm like, yo, dude, like the natives are restless. What the hell? And the helicopter flies away.
Yep.
And so the gravity of it was real.
Well, we're
deep.
done.
Yeah, no, but
my job's over. You're dropped off.
Now,
See you later.
of course, I'm filming everything, and I can't stop. I mean, this is what I'm known for, is this shooting everything.
If you're gonna go, you might as well get to capture the film.
Yeah, no, it's gnarly. They came out in loincloths. I mean, like what that Bugs Bunny, like what you think is the bad thing. And it turns out that when people come of high regard, they bring their best warriors out front to menace them. How much you menace them is like how strong you are. When you think about this tribal, strength, show of strength. So then we were just all kumbaya. I was teaching them the ABCs, the kids,
Yeah, that works. But that gets to Katie's question right there. Are there any places you would rather not go again? Which is an important question.
Cave. The Taos Cave is one. And I like Russia just because it's so. I've been there. I've been to Siberia a bunch in Russia, but it's gangster, dude. And I don't like it there. It's no smiles. It's a land of no smiles. And if you smile in Russia, they think you're something's wrong with you. Like that. Right. And you say hello, you say thank you a lot. They're like, what do you want from me? Right. That's what they think. And it's really, it's like
for me that I wouldn't want to go back to.
Wow. I would fit in. I'd fit in good there. I hate to say please and thank you, and I hardly ever smile.
This is Chernobyl. We did a ghost hunt. We did a ghost hunt in Chernobyl with Destination Truth, and we're the first team in there as a paranormal team, and it was cracking through a mask. I didn't take off as a level 4 radiation suit. I didn't take it off once. Once they told me like a little microbe can go in you and then stay in you, and then when you die, that microbe stays. It goes to someone else. It's like, oh.
Now, how did that did that radiation, like the camera, was there something that basically counteracted the radiation effect on the film? I mean, because a lot of times, like you'll see, it looks grainy, like almost like those 1980s film, because the radiation's affecting the filming process.
I wasn't close enough because I had this dosimeter on me, and you'll see it hanging from my camera. And it's like it's a number they're supposed to give me, but they wouldn't. But it would go off. I'd be like, "Hey, good? Is it good?" No worries. I was like, "Wait a minute."
When it makes a sound, that's bad. Like,
and bad. Radiation. Yep. This place was. I. If you guys want, I could do a whole podcast on my trip to Chernobyl. It's very interesting. And there's quite a lot of stories. The paranormal stories have to do with shadow creatures just up along the wall and just all over. And then there's some really funny stuff that happened there too.
All right, well, you got to lead with that one. Come on.
All I could think of Scooby-Doo with that glowing green skeleton astronaut thing in Scooby-Doo.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
that's what I picture when I see Chernobyl. I'm just like, yeah, there's somebody over there. There's a glowing spirit somewhere in Chernobyl.
Yeah, no one's going to go back there for a long time now that the war and all of that. So I'm just glad. That's cool. A feather in my hat in the paranormal world. I
mean, that was one of the things too, with like the current conflict over there, when they were actually, I was just like, does anybody realize that might not be the place to keep shelling? That might not be the place to shoot anything at. I mean, it's just, you're seeing bombs landing here. It's like, did we not learn anything from Chernobyl? I don't think we want to hit the dome. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I don't care how mad you are at Ukraine, Russia. I don't think you want to target the Chernobyl area. I think that might be just a no-go.
Just leave that place be. Yeah, I agree.
They said there were places there. They said
bad.
There were places there. They said you run across that field, you're not gonna get to the other side. But what? Yeah, because it's radiation shoots up and it stays to rubber on certain materials. So like we went up to the bumper cars and I was like, and I was like, nah, I'll just zoom in. You guys go. You have your own. Dosimeter made when it beeped, it made my paranoia, my just
anxiety go up.
I was like, back.
Yeah, that's because that's just one of those things where it's just, when you're doing these things, it's amazing, just, and for anybody that not entirely that doesn't know who we're talking about, like when he's working with, there's a picture for anybody.
That's the man. That's Josh Gates. He's my mentor and everything. I run everything by him lately, and is he taught. I think he was one of the first to do with Destination Truth the idea of a sweep. Sweep was these tapes that we had, little DVD, you know, a little clamshell thing, you know, this whole thing with PD-150 would shoot television shows on prosumer cameras, but they would last an hour. So it would an hour around and back to base camp is a sweep. And I still do that today with Jack. And I'm telling Jack, let's do a sweep. Let's go and come back, look at some evidence, get a new look. What did we learn from it? All these story points happen instead of just go, go, go.
There's a weird camera effect right here. You got like half a dude.
Oh, you know what I do?
Chernobyl.
You know what I do? And that's
That
funny.
was-
I didn't catch that. It was a vertical picture, and I used Canva to expand it. And the AI, you know, it doesn't get fingers right and stuff.
Yeah, that was just awesome. It's I like Jack's like that's leftover from Chernobyl.
That's
well,
the
that's
problem.
one thing I asked Evan. Was the first question I ever asked him was, "Do you ever have anything that follows you home from going on these places? Like you're going to some of the most haunted locations. Like what keeps them from attaching to you and coming to?"
Because I don't believe that they do come back, and I'm pretty like, as you know, Jack. My whole trip is I believe in that stuff because an event that happened to me, and I'm trying to chase the truth on that with my camera and get something on tape and getting something heard. I'm not a disbeliever, but because I know, but I need more, you know. And the more, but like hanging out with Jack, it's just like with just us, and now all this stuff is happening around us, and I'm like, wait a minute, and I just trip out. But I'm trying to
the
get
good thing about being a good investigator is being a believer and a skeptic. Because if you go into every location and you believe that every place is haunted, every place is going to be haunted, you're going to have terrible evidence.
Yeah.
But you know, working with me, dude, I've been doing this for 23 years, and 95% of the places I go to don't have anything, or there wasn't activity that night. You know. But me and Evan, I don't know. We draw something out. I mean, we've gotten some crazy evidence, and I can't put my finger on why, but.
The craziest thing too is like the people that you always watch the show. I mean, obviously it's for TV, you know, they got to have the thing, but you're like, show me something. You hear something fall over and like, oh my God, and they go running out of the room. It's like, go towards the sound. You just asked for something and it's right there. It's like, what are you running away from? I mean, it literally answered you. It threw a stone.
Well, and that's the thing. You get the people that get all excited and pumped up. You get the people who are possessed every other episode. You get the people that, you know, have to make something happen. But then you get the people that try to like, and that's what's different about our show is we're telling the history, we're telling the background, we're trying to see if there's a connection between what we've heard in the paranormal stories and what there is actually with the history and bring them together. But the thing is, there's been times me and Evan will sit out there for hours, we'll get nothing. And that's how it goes.
That's what we talked story, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what happened when we had the iPhone rolling. We were talking about other stories.
Episode 4 of the new series, SV Chronicles. Go watch it. TikTok. You can also do it on the YouTube. You're going to the cemetery and you're visiting the graves, and there's a couple of moments, and it's Evan. You get freaked out, and and then you both hear things.
It's super fun. It's super fun. I get off on it. It's the best time ever when things are happening. I've got my camera, usually my iPhone, and I got something else. I'm just like, oh my God, where was it? And I put the camera there and I get the EVP there. So I've got hassled before, you know.
Well, what's good is that, I like the way you set it up. You do the episode, you talk about, you have that session where you talk about it. They're very digestible. You can actually sit there, boom, you're bored, going out for a smoke or whatever, or you just want to break from something in life, go watch the episode. And then you catch a 3-hour, like where you guys break it down, which I like the breaking down portion of it.
That's right.
It's a really good series. This is what the future is right here. These guys are at the forefront of it. This is
I like to think so.
Of television.
You pumping me up. I'm pumped.
Because
I'm pumped. As a storyteller, in Hollywood, storyteller, you try to make a difference. Good luck. You know, you're on these shows, they have to have you have 10 days to do a show. It's too big of a monster to really pivot and do anything. You have to go with what's going on. There's a whole freedom with this YouTube show that I think every what do you call them, ghost and paranormal investigator, when you're doing a TV show, need a battery and like, yo, when we at it, it's just all this noise. And I tell you, when I worked on Finding Bigfoot and Matt Moneymaker, and Bobo and those guys, they were like, turn your lights off. I was like, I need my lights. I got to shoot a show. What are you doing? So they made me, even IR, because Bigfoot, sees IR. But everything they had an answer to is this. I was like, dude, are you making this up or is this like everything? But it's true. It's an apex predator. It's behind you when you walk. It hides when it's about to die. It digs itself in. It's all these things they have. So yeah.
I mean, and that's a key thing, especially with ghost hunting. And I'm sure you guys you have the three, the front and back camera. The back camera is never, everybody's pointed to the front. All the good stuff happens behind you.
I'm going to take your advice.
We're now installing a camera on the back of this thing. I guarantee it's going to happen.
You help us build a rig, dude. I mean,
I'm not a problem. I'll be more than happy to help and put my 2 cents in. I've been investigating for years.
Yeah.
My first Bigfoot encounter, and he'll understand the bunk. I was in bunk 8 in Camp Delaware, and that it was 3 a.m, Evan, in the late 70s. And I went up to go to the bathroom. I was on top of the double decker, and there was something in the window by my feet. And I looked, and it was a giant monkey filled up the window. It's a 3 foot by 3 foot window. And I was on the top floor. So we had to be at least 7-8 feet tall. And it was doing this. It was just peeking in the window.
Yo, that was your camp counselor, Steve Stein.
No.
Yeah.
What's really funny is the year later, Dawkins came up and he was drunk. And he went around scaring with like blah, 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 whatever. This was a Bigfoot. The same year, that reservoir in front of our camp, which is called Crystal Lake, by the way. That's what they were supposed to.
Of course it was.
Mr. Voorhees just paid a visit in the window.
Came to our camp to rent the camp out. She said no. The same summer, 2 Bigfoots were seen right there at that off the Route 263. 2 reports of them.
Yo, Brian and I went to sleepaway camp. I don't know if we're in the same bunk, but we went to Camp
you were a year ahead
in Connecticut. Yeah. Me and him since I was a little, all the way up to being a waiter, and it's the best experiences ever. And you mentioned Dawkins, Daryl Dawkins, the basketball player. It's kind of it's like a Jewish sports camp where like all these great people came, and Daryl Dawkins came. And I remember he stayed in our bunk once. We played Pile on the Rabbit with him, and this dude is huge. We all 14 of us got on him, and he was just like throwing us around and all this stuff.
Diesel.
He had this. I guess it was really cool.
He just recently passed away. He's from Orlando.
Nice guy.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy. He had his private part that he called a broomschmacken or something like that. It was like, and for a little kid, you're like, what? It's like, let me see it. Stupid.
He used to come up and spend weeks there. I mean, like, I don't know what the heck was going on. He'd give out ponies, pony sneaker deal.
Nice guy.
He just start handing out boxes of sneakers, but he was a really, really great guy.
Yeah.
They get paid a lot. Beetle Nut was going to be my favorite thing, but now it's Broomschnock, and
I know.
I don't understand that.
Yo,
all these T-shirt ideas.
Yeah, right.
I got a good one. There's a story.
Get your Broomschnock T-shirt right now.
At Camp Delaware, there was a legend of Cropsey. Do you know about this legend of Cropsey?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I don't remember too much of it, but it had something to do with the lake and it coming back and what was it? Do you know? There
was across the street from the lake. There was a burnt out homestead, and there was a doctor named Cropsey that was experimenting on kids and started killing kids. And he would come in through the lake and he'd steal you, and they just use it to scare the crap out of every camp that was in the, especially the kids that were just like really, really bad.
Yeah, Cropsey.
One person would be telling the story, and then the next thing you know, another counselor would come busting in with the light, screaming, and
you can't do that this day and age with kids.
No,
because now they'll be out there with their GoPros and their cameras. I have a 13-year-old nephew we call Young Buck, and I'm like, dude, you want to go ghost hunting? And that kid is already out there doing it in cemeteries at like 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
you know, kids this day and age, you can't scare them like that. Oh, let's go get some video evidence of it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Where
well,
I'm from in Huntington Beach, they get scared. Like, come on.
Yeah. We used to have
And then-
we used to have a lot
Yeah.
of people come up from the inner city, work in the kitchen, when they're called Lou's boys,
What
and
do you got?
they were scared crapless.
Oh,
That guy's
Cropsy.
got eyes
Read
of a
it.
serial killer
Cropsy.
for sure. Like that's
Read it.
terrifying.
at
Someone
those
read that.
eyes.
Nightmare fuel.
Read that
Yeah, so-
description.
Yeah, so that's. I said I pride myself in being able to quick Google searches and bring stuff up on the shows. I said,
It only took you some time.
yeah. So that was, yeah. It's basically Geraldo Rivera did
Look for a hand.
an investigation on this one too.
Yep. Something about an urban legend in
Yeah,
Staten
urban legend
Island.
that this guy he was in Willowbrook Mental Institution, and he would come out late at night and snatch kids off the streets.
Yeah.
And he'd be either wielding a bloody axe or a hook for a hand. So it almost sounds like an inspiration for a Candyman.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
he probably worked at our camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was probably who Brian saw in the window.
Swim instructor.
You thought it was a monkey. He was actually saw Cropsy.
Yo, but he's
Oh,
right.
man.
Those the counselors would come in and they'd do I think it was called a sandwich or something. They'd take your mattress and put it together and throw you off. I mean, like all this stuff. It's like,
man,
yeah,
he's just
was-
dead
It
eyes
was
though.
good.
This guy.
It was good. You couldn't do anything to like that to anybody right now because they
Because his name was
couldn't
Andre
handle it.
Rand, born Frank Rushin,
Where'd they
and
come
he
up
had
with
5
Cropsy
notable alleged victims.
he's real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that picture.
Shit.
That's a real
It's
dude.
him.
Yeah,
What?
but that's where the legend of Cropsy came from.
Dr. Cropsy.
I didn't know it was
Cropsy
real.
just sounds like that sea monster you want to ride on. Like,
Yeah,
then you see
chopping
this
heads.
and you're like, oh, Cropsy with a lake. What the heck am I
Yeah,
looking
and then
at?
you swim the
that's
lake and it has
terrifying.
all this
Ugh.
algae on it, and it touches your foot, and you fucking just yell out.
Yeah, that's just like what the hell is down there?
so there we go. There's Cropsy right there.
Yeah, I mean,
Walking on the lake bottom.
Yo,
I
let's
know. I
get
just
into
like the
some of this-
reaction. He's real. Ah.
Get some of this AI stuff I'm doing. I sent you some stuff.
Yeah,
yeah,
I can bring some of
throw
those
the
up.
AI stuff up.
Which one you want?
The UFO, the stuff that I get and I fix up, and that's the reason why Jack and I kind of connected.
Okay, let's see.
It's a series, 1, 2, 3, and 4 of maybe says, I don't know. Did I send it?
Look at because you've got the AI 1, 2, and 3.
Why don't you shoot.
Yeah, I'll bring them. I'll bring this one up here.
Maybe I
'Cause I
didn't send
can
it
I
to
can
you.
switch them real quick.
You can just add a little bit too, and we'll just tell you what you
Yep.
got there, and just go from there.
I'll
Okay,
tell you
so
what,
this is we in our show, since it's just him and I, all these tools are given us now. Every day is a new one. And this is through Firefly Adobe product. And I type in the story that we have is these entities are in the basement and stuff. And it's all about the prompts and prompting it right and making it, and it's cool. We dig it. And sometimes it brings stuff that's really cool.
that program is from Adobe. Which one is it
It's
called? Firefly?
This one too. You describe it.
Is that in
really
the
good.
Premiere in the
Mhm.
Adobe
It's
suite?
Adobe, right? You need if you have Premiere, you got it. It's part of the Adobe whatever.
I've noticed they implemented a lot of AI into it now.
So
We're
it's
telling
cool.
the story with the image and everything. We have a really historical area here that is a part of the Underground Railroad, and the way they described the woman the historian that took us down there, the way that she described how they would hide, because there was people called slave hunters or bounty hunters that would be after these people, trying to bring them back, because at that point they thought of them as property, not as people. And they're trying to escape to the north to gain their freedom and get away from these people. And it's the way she described how they hid in the basement and the areas they had. That's what we put into AI, and we try to see if it captures that image.
This is the lady in white. What I described, and I modified a little bit. And how cool is this? And now we're trying to make it animate now. And just today something came out. It was like Google's new animate your photo thing, and I was like, yes, give it to me. Because
that's the key right there. If you can start animating it, you're
you can.
amazing.
I mean, Google Photos will separate the foreground and kind of move it for you. But we're telling stories, right? This is the bridge. This is we're telling ghost stories, and we're trying to set and look. I'm a nominated editor of the year with MTV Editor. And I've been in the business forever. I'm as pro as it gets, and I love it. And now that I'm doing my own thing with Jack, and I'm passionate about it, all these skills are coming into effect. So we're supercharging it with story and content and smart story. We're not just out there going boom, boom, boom. I mean, look at this picture, right? This is just some folks, like, it's, it's
You
pretty
AI
cool.
generated this photo?
No, it did. Yes.
This is AI generated, and in the area in the basement, I mean, when you go down there, you can feel the energy there. It's sad, but it's also happiness because they realized they had the help.
Right. This is the chokehold. This is the
it's a
last
lot.
part, right before they went and got the freedom. And there's a lot of energy there. Personally, I think that spirits are just energy. Like, I'm a big believer that love is something that has an energy ball to it, and hate and all these emotions. There's these things attached to it. Fear. It creates this kind of thing. She's hot. No. So.
Check out our OnlyFans after this, guys. We got ghosts.
Yes,
Lady in White OnlyFans.
Lady in White OnlyFans coming this fall.
So interesting, right? And of course, I get it, I play with it. I has a lot of depth and a lot of latitude. These images, I can really crush the blacks. And also, let's get into this right here. So what I do is I have all these. I'm like trying to be an expert at AI in Hollywood, to be like, can you do this? Can you do that? Because they're all apps. I mean, let's face it, they're super easy. You pay a little bit of money and you learn how to prompt. This one here is a photo that
So this was actually during a paranormal investigation. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. We
that's
got
why
a little bit of a delay, so I keep on over talking you. This is on the Oswegatchie River. This is a small island that is just outside of the town of Richville. And we were doing an investigation out there one night because there's stories about when the Civil War was happening, the soldiers would actually march through these cornfields heading on the way down to Gettysburg and other battlefields. Actually, one of those soldiers happened to be my sixth great-grandfather who fought in the Union Army. He marched from Pierpont, New York to South Carolina, which is quite a ways. And so I went out there, I was trying to get some EVPs, get some, SB7 responses and everything. And then my fiance and I were driving down the road in my truck, and we looked off to the left, and it looked like a person standing there with my truck lights. And I'm like, I got to get out. I got to see if they're okay. Why are they on the island? Like, this is weird. So I hopped out of the truck and I walk over the flashlight. And the weird thing is, like, with the flashlight, even my eyes should have focused on this person, but I couldn't get them into focus. So I had the video going, and all of a sudden they just started to fade away and they were gone. And I caught this and I sent the image to Evan, and I was like, dude, I need you to look at this. And this was in real time. We're still sitting in the truck, and I called him up and I was like, dude, I need you to look at this. And when he did the AI with it, it really brought out the definition of each figure, because there's actually two. There's the one in the front, and then the back. There's a figure that's standing behind a tree, and that's why you can only see like half of it.
There should be another photo as well.
There is another one too. And the other thing that was really creepy about this is, well, not just creepy, but kind of cool at the same point, was what these entities are wearing actually match the Akwesasne Mohawk tribe during the time of the French Indian War. And so what this entity is holding is actually called a story staff or a story stick. And they would pass this around. This is how they would share stories around the campfire. Some people would also use it as, it could be a walking stick. But I mean, it really does look like it. Actually, I forgot to tell you, Evan, we have a meeting with the Historical Society on the Akwesasne Mohawk Reservation, and they're going to show us relics from this time period to see if anything matches what we have here.
I mean, I thought at first I was like, oh, Civil War, because this land is full of like it's like that comic book War is Hell, these Civil War skeletons still fighting, so my imagination is like, yo, that Civil War guy, look, he's holding a rifle. Because I went into the shadows, and I swear this is, and then when you get closer to it, see, once you gotta get an AI, and it obviously it doesn't fix the photo, it reconstructs it, right? And then you can go in, and there's no more. You can just enhance contrast.
But I'm looking at it from this angle too. It almost looks like it has a bow. It almost looks like a recurve bow.
It sure does.
Actually,
But then
Now
the
that I'm
way
kind
he's
of, I
holding it,
never noticed that.
it's like a story stick, though. He's like, it's my turn. I tell
Yeah,
the
they do
story.
hold it like that. Yeah. And also the other thing I never noticed, but I did notice once we did the AI and had things kind of fixed up, it almost looks like it's wearing a headdress.
Yeah, get close on the face. Zoom in more if you could.
That's as far as it's
That's
letting
as
me
far as
zoom
I
in.
can zoom.
So in
Yeah.
studying indigenous people of North America, what
Mhm.
I know about the story stick and the shape in the previous photo, the end tail of that shape where it goes up, it gets thicker, it widens. That is a
Yep.
classic example because it's not only
Yes.
a story stick, it can tell a story by hitting you with it. And they've used that as a it always double meaning for
I
things.
think that's the
Shillelagh.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
kind of like a shillelagh.
So they
That's
had
it.
the first selfie stick. So they invented the first selfie stick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Story
definitely
stick.
did. Story stick.
Right. So, hey, let me tell you something. The day this app came out, I've been on ChatGPT day one, all this stuff. And of course, I have a mission for it. Let's look at some ghosty stuff and some paranormal stuff, because right away, first thing I did, guess what I did? The Gimlin film, the Bigfoot walking backwards. Yo, I debunked it in straight up 2 minutes. I'll send you the thing. It was like, okay, got that. Then I was like, oh, Jesus, Shroud of Turin. Oh, JFK. I was like, oh, what crimes, what things have been hinged on a blurry photo? And then I started researching, and I was like, that's the first I thought of. Law
See, with the
enforcement.
Gimli film, I'm still a believer on it. I know you said
I'm a
that you
believer.
feel like you've debunked it.
Man,
I've
don't
watched
stop.
too many. I believe in it just because I know at that time there was no such thing as a full ape body costume, even with
It's not
Planet of
only
the
that,
Apes.
it's the muscle mass movement. And they
Yes.
did not if that was now, I'd say
Mm.
sure, because there's silicone and that will move to your body. They didn't
Yep.
have it back then. So
Well, and see, I was also talking to one of my friends, Ben Hansen, about this. You guys know Ben from Fact or Fake Paranormal Files,
yep.
and they did a whole episode about the knees with the way the Bigfoot walked. It bucked the knees out, which even they had an Olympic runner who came over and tried to walk like this. They matched it. They put like all the green screen on him to try to match it from screen to screen with the way he walked. He couldn't do it. He couldn't
Yep.
walk with his knees pointed out like that. So I don't know.
So I got Ben. I did Alien Invasion Hudson Valley UFO.
Mhm.
And I told him when I was on there, I said, I'm gonna bring in craft tonight. I'm gonna bring in stuff. Because and the producer was like, yeah, whatever. I told him right off there. And boom, we started charging the energy, and Ben couldn't figure it out. And Mark D'Antoni was at a loss. And Mark is one of the smartest guys in the world, great guy. And I said, I told you I was gonna bring it in, and I brought it in.
Well, it's
Good
and one of the
episode.
things like when you're talking about it here, I'm going to bring it up on the screen because you were talking about the Patterson film too. That for me, it's always been that was 1967. Well, here this is from 1976. This is Hollywood. There's a bionic Bigfoot. So in less than less than 10 years, that's the best they can do. And I'm like, so where did it's like
$6 million
if it was a suit,
Bigfoot.
that's been my kind of where Jack is. That's always been my biggest thing about that film. If this was somebody wearing a suit, that person missed their calling in Hollywood because they knew how to design a
Oh,
costume.
absolutely.
This is something
Because
like Soul Glow from
yeah, because I said this
America.
was Hollywood's Bigfoot. I mean, this is this was the money production for the show, and so if that's the best they can do with that budget, man, those guys had something, to be able to pack it
Well, if
out
you've ever
there in
seen
southern.
the Planet of the sorry,
No,
had a
you're
delay
going.
again. My bad. If you've ever seen the Planet of the Ape costumes, it went to here, and their hands actually that's all that was covered in fur was their hands to here and to here. The rest was a T-shirt that they would wear because they couldn't. Even the people in Hollywood said we cannot make a costume around the chest, the shoulders that would move good enough to make it look realistic. So we're only going to do those face shots, those hand shots. That's why in the old Planet of the Apes you see those kind of shots.
Did you see? Have you seen? I sent you the AI picture. that
You have,
before
and
after.
your AI picture definitely does bring up some questions to me too, because I'm like,
Mhm.
whoa, wait, hold on a second. So it is a
Well,
good one.
that's where both things have that. It's kind of like what Evan was saying before. I've always kind of styled myself too. I'm a healthy dose between Mulder and Scully.
Yeah.
It's like I want to believe, but at the same point, that rational side of me has I've got to
That's what made it a good
get rid
show.
of any logical explanation first before I can start going around screaming paranormal.
Right.
wanna
And
get on
that's
tape.
too as a paranormal investigator. You have to debunk it first before you can prove it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Absolutely.
kind of like what you said, just like you're using that technology. You can see it going backwards. You can make these cases where, look, this definitely has a thing. And but for me, it's always been on that one. It's just like
You know,
the
but with
suit would be so freaking impressive for them to have designed that in 1967.
there is a disclaimer with AI stuff, and I just want to kind of throw it out there because I'm a realist. It's not fixing the photo; it's rebuilding it and then making judgments what's inside those shadows. So
Mhm.
and that's a matrix shit right there. Then what is that? Like what?
And
But even when I use a program called Topaz that we run our video stuff through to kind of get rid of the grain, it's rebuilding the stuff. So it's really
Yeah.
spooky.
But just for anybody, like I said too, like because I said I equal opportunity on both sides too. For everybody that says like that thing, would it be possible? Yes, because look at 2001: A Space Odyssey. Just how breakthrough that was, and that was a year later from when the Patterson Gimlin film was taken. So there is a possibility of making something that looks so realistic that you could do,
But it was
but
not in focus. It's just a little bit out. And I
yeah,
did you get the
yep.
photo the before? You don't want to show it, right? Because it's
Yeah.
disruptive. That's what they call you.
Oh no, I'm
No.
gonna. Nope, I
The
got
whole
you. I
thing
got you right here.
about
Let
the AI, and I
me bring
agree
him
with
up here.
you, Evan, is it takes the image, it digitizes. It's better if it's digital to begin with, and then it starts manipulating. Well, this is where it's good. So it gives you some places to play with. And I
It
can see
rebuilds
how
it.
a lot of it could be debunked.
But there's another
A
shot I
good
sent you.
investigator is looking at every single angle, every single thing you can do to prove whether I don't know what this is, or yes,
Oh
this
no,
is what it is.
No,
I'm gonna.
So
Nope,
yeah,
I
these
got you.
guys are
I got
cool.
you right
I love
here.
these people.
Right. It's
There
the
it is.
one. It's a tighter shot of that. That's a shadow creature. Okay, so now
There it
look.
is.
This is the first thing I did. Imagine. I said, "Oh, it has duct tape on its eyes." If you zoom in a little closer, it's like, oh, busted. It's like, oh, breaking hearts now. It's all right because people's whole lives are based on this. And I was like, boom, boom, boom. It's fake.
Did you take the high the 1080 footage of someone
I
actually
I
reformatted
just
it
grabbed it off
to
the internet. I did a screen grab and I
do
went
this
and I
do the same
See, there's
thing?
a 1080 version now too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that it's a lot clearer. But what people don't notice is, and they only paid attention to Patty. There's talk about this, that what Patty is moving the people that are there, Giblin and everybody, away, because you'll see a baby Sasquatch Bigfoot that peeks its head up, and she's trying to lead it as a mother away from the child.
That's why she's making herself visible, is so they
Yep.
take the attention to her.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
look, it has
Yeah.
boobs. I get it. And it has this bulge in its thigh that comes out. It's really strange. But the tight shot, look at it. It's like, yo, put the duct tape on. Like, no,
I
it's no one's
definitely
gonna
get
know.
where it does look like duct tape. It definitely
No one's
does,
gonna know.
but at the same point, it could be oily skin. Unless we have this is one of the ones that's always going to make every skeptic and believer go back and forth until we have a picture that is crystal clear.
It's pretty
We have a
clear.
We're
press
always going to have
conference
this
with a
until we have a
Bigfoot.
body. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, we need a body.
We
And
need
not
Never
that,
have it.
not that dog
Laura's
died
comment.
in
Boobs
upstate
are
New
the
York
key.
either.
It's a
That's a shirt.
it's a multi-dimensional creature. It'll never see it. That's what it is. Okay, so this is someone sent me this photo and said, "Can you play with this? Is there anything there?" And I said, "Yeah, I could see kind of right away." And in the next shot, you'll see what I got out of it is that it's like
Where was this?
I don't know.
Remember?
I'm on a kick where, like, if someone posts on Facebook like them and their grandpa and it's out of focus, I'll send it back in focus and say I hooked you up. I just love doing it. It's so fun.
Or I do this all the time. If they take the shot and it's an inverse, so it's if you look at if they have text and it looks terrible, it's the text is wrong because the camera reverses it.
Oh, yeah.
I always flip it around and go, here you go.
Yeah. But look at this. This is this looks like one of these what's the women with the they had a show about it, like they were damn, come on. That is, if you zoom into that, man, it is awesome looking. It's like Ghost with some sort of outfit of the convenant kind of outfit. I don't know.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
cool.
Yep.
It almost has that alien look from Star Wars.
Yeah.
In episode 2.
I tell you, with the ruffled lapel that's in the front.
No, it's like a big white.
It almost looks like a judge's cloak, an old judge's cloak, and then you had the ruffled lapel in the front, a little bit.
Yep, I know what you're saying on that one.
So it
looks like a courthouse too, the way that it's laid out, like an old courthouse or something.
We can go all day with this stuff. It's cool, and I do it. When I do that, I record myself doing it. I record the screen, and the whole thing gets played out. And I do have a little something there. One of the videos, it says Casper entity, and you'll see how I do it. And I don't
want this shadow. Oh, sorry, Evan, didn't mean to interrupt. With this shadow entity that Evan has here, I want to see if I can share this. I did this on another live I was on, and I have this where I actually did a layover of another photo because I keep on telling Evan that looks like a conquistador from Spain. If you zoom right in, you can actually see the helmet, you can see the armor and everything. And I'm going back real quick to see. Yeah, here I got the photo right here.
In the shadows, if you look in, there's a whole nother dimension, another world, and it tripped me out. Like again, I just trip out on this stuff. And I'm a comic book guy. I like suspending belief. It's fun. And if you do that, magical things happen. Oddly enough, especially when you're filming. So it's
it doesn't
fun.
Look like I can, unfortunately.
Anyone who's a disbeliever, just come on a ghost hunt. Let's go have fun. It's a blast.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun.
I mean, it's better when you bring people that don't believe. So then when you do have an experience, it kind of validates what you've been saying, which is important.
Yo, we got to
bring my okay to screen share real quick, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I just got a picture and I'm gonna see if I can screen share. It's actually saying I can. So
we got to bring Drew Stone up here, my brother, the New Yorker.
Let's see if that actually comes up. So that's the overlay that I did, and you can actually see how the helmet matches with the armor. And then if you go back, I do. Hold on one sec. Let me grab that real quick.
And this is where it gets fun, right? So now we say, well, was there conquistadors in that area? Well, yes, there was.
There was a large Spanish presence in that area, and I mean they were all over, and there was battles between the French, the Spanish, the Native Americans at that time.
We learned about that. Now history comes into play. We're kind of weaving it in and out, and that's our deal. We love that. We love that lost history.
It's a passion for sure.
For me, it's with Josh. Just being with Josh for so long, he's very inquisitive, and
I'll bring up the other photo.
It's important because, first of all, no one pays attention to it as much anymore, and they only have 30 seconds. And and to be honest, I want your episodes to be longer than they are, but
they're gonna be.
You're also in a sweet spot where, like, okay, cool, and they can digest it. And and I know. Don't get me wrong, I've been on the editing end of these things.
Right.
Not a.
So I don't see what you see. I see a dude. I see a dude with glasses, a mustache, and some lips, looking camera left.
And that's the thing. It's almost that ink blotch kind of thing. You see what you're going to be told to see. I just, and when I see because I just see the line, the armor, I see the eye sockets, I see a small face. But you've sent me what you've seen, and I'm like,
wow. Could be the rear view of Shredder.
What do you guys see?
Yeah.
On the right.
Yeah, Shredder, very Shredder. We found Shredder, guys.
Yeah. Look for the turtles. Where are the turtles? Yeah, no, I mean, but it's one of those things you definitely could see. You definitely could see that. I mean, like I said, where you overlaid those things. I mean, that's definitely the possibility, and that's been one of the things like where you know, kind of like what Evan was saying too, is the same thing. It's like so important is that for, especially in the research part, is it's kind of like the brainstorming thing. There's not really a bad idea. Everybody brings it in there, and it's just a matter of just weeding through what's you know possible, what's not, and then you just start working through these things. Just they're all hypotheses. These are all things that are just this is what we think. It's kind of like everybody's theories. It's not really a theory because we're not even to that point in the scientific process. Everybody's putting out these hypotheses of what they think Bigfoot is, what they think it has the ability to do. But until we can actually get the concrete thing,
Prove it.
it can't ever go
Right.
to proof or theory because we haven't been able to back up the scientific research side of it yet.
Right.
And hopefully with the packs behind you guys, you might actually start getting some of these scientific pieces, you know, to start
scared
out
to
and
watch
get
the footage behind my back that I didn't know what was behind me. Like all of a sudden I see just like like Scooby Doo kind of thing behind me.
No.
That's where you're going to catch it.
When I was in El Mirador, we were doing a piece on this civilization that kind of disappeared. It's in Guatemala. It's El Mirador. It's the tallest pyramids in the world. When we're at the base camp, we stayed there for days. Walking between the two huts is so many panthers around that you'd in the morning you'd see their tracks where you went back, you know, to the mess hall or whatever. And so they were there. And then when you walk there, you know, you'd have this feeling of being watched, and you know you were, because they're in the shadows behind you. It is something, you know, for apex predators when they got that low grumble, they're just in that mode. Oh, it's scary.
Yep. And cats, it doesn't matter if they're big or small, they love go as soon as you turn your back to a cat, they're going to attack you.
Yeah.
Bigfoot,
there's nothing quite like being stalked by a mountain lion.
That she admires your work.
Really?
I don't know if you saw that.
Which one?
Evan. I was just seeing the comment right here that it's been Thea Wiggins says, I would like to just tell Evan how much I admire his work. So I just
the Wigster. Thank you. I tell you the reason why I'm back on camera, because I'm not usually, is I have a fan page, but I didn't make it. You know, someone else did. Marianne Hartley, yay! And they were giving me all these compliments. And, you know, I'm reading my press clippings and what are these people saying about me? Oh, all these good things. And oh my God, they're seeing me as the best I can be because I'm on camera. And then I thought, well, why don't I be that person? Because let's start there, which is an awesome place to be and meet those expectations and above. And then I hooked up with Jack and things are starting to snap together. It feels great. I mean, I don't know if we even want a TV show. I mean, we do, but like
we don't.
We're organically bubbling this storytelling concept up. So you imagine this: we transfer to music. You watch the songwriter write his songs every episode, and then at the end, it's live. We're gonna play it live. Okay, art, painting, or do whatever. Multi episodes on the concepts of what these people are into, and then you show it. So we're doing the same thing with ghost hunting. And with a live element, and it's subscription based. It's a business model too. I mean, where, you know, we go live on for a ghost hunt, and then we say we're subscribers only the next 5 hours. Okay, $4 a month times X amount. Okay, now we have money to get Josh Gates. We have money to get more equipment. We have money to grow like Mr. Beast does it. Pay it forward. Put it on the screen.
Yeah.
Right.
I hope to have money like Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
Oh no, who wouldn't?
We get anyone with money, you know, to come along and
Mr.
play
Beast,
with
come on a ghost hunt with us, please.
Those ghost hunter guys, they're out of work. They don't have a job anymore. Where are they? Let's get them. We got money.
Well, there's one like the guy that comment right here. I even mentioned to him, they do a lot of stuff with MMA, and one of the things too, because that's always been the biggest thing. Is like, especially like with paranormal, it seems to be like where there's high energy, there seems to be a little bit more activity. And so I always told him, it's like, what you guys need to do is, because he would take like an MMA fighter and take him out on an investigation and kind of like interview him and do this. And I said, what you need to do, guys, is you need to go to some place like one of those mental asylums. You guys need to stage an MMA fight, have the actual fight event at that thing. Yep. And so when you have all that energy building in one side of that facility, you have guys like yourself on the other side doing paranormal investigation.
Solid. That's why UFO sightings are in military nuclear things. It's just that energy. It's something about to happen. I don't know. They just show up. They're like,
good.
It's like your uncle you don't
Dude,
want.
did you just hear? Can you guys hear what's outside my house right now?
Uh-uh.
That was completely random. Somebody just honked the horn and drove by my house and yelled SVC.
No way.
Nice.
What? Somebody barely knows where I live.
What's up,
I don't know if that's a good thing.
That's
I'm gonna
good.
go lock the doors. I'll be right back.
Yeah, Reddit. It's like those. Do you remember back like after the election, those guys on Reddit where they found Shia LaBeouf's flag?
Oh God.
He because he did his whole protest thing. You know, it's like we're not going to get too political here. He did his whole protest thing after Trump was elected president. He was like, they're not going to, they won't divide us. He had his little camera thing. Well, he ended up. People kept getting interrupting it. So he basically took it to where he put the flag with a camera on it out in the middle of nowhere. Well, all the guys on Reddit, they ended up just based off the cloud patterns and the flights, they located it. And so they ended up putting the frog flag. They ended up switching. They found his location. Everybody just, it was like crowdsource locate.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm like, as you said, somebody just drove by, yelled at SVC. It's like somebody just figured out how to locate his place.
He's live right now.
Actually, when I had J&J Adventures and I was almost at 250,000 followers, I had somebody show up to one of my camps that I actually have a camp out in the Adirondacks that I hunt at. And it's not like hunt deer, I like hunt Bigfoot. And I had somebody pull up into the driveway and actually was playing like Halloween music, and we're like hanging out there and trying to. I was like, "Hey, this isn't creepy at all. We're in the middle of like nowhere right now."
This is just like really scary at this point.
Yeah,
like, you're really
thanks for the support.
Man, okay, Kathy, get in the car.
You're just waiting for that one. It's like it's, it's the one we've been meant to be together.
I'm going to give a shout out right here to one of our commenters, Donnie. Here, he's a law enforcement officer in Texas. We did a thing with him where he had a sighting. I call him in my phone. It says Hero Cop Texas, and he works with kids. He's amazing. And he was on our show. It's the Legend of Bray Road. I mean, it's this road that all this activity happens. It's in Texas. And he was a correctional officer at the time. He could tell you the story better, but he had a bunch of these inmates cleaning up that little area, and they all saw a UFO, unidentified, something big. Misses someone, and then he was on our show, and now we're kind of besties. I love the guy and his kid. We have a real connection with him, and I'm just giving him a shout out right here. It's always a trip when people of authority, someone who's bona fide, talks about this stuff. It's always like, wait, what? It's cool. It gives us some
validity to it, and I'm sure like a lot of these guys, they want to talk about. I know people in law enforcement that will talk to you off record away. You're friendly with them, but they can't mention it on record. They'd never hear the end of it. It would be detrimental to their career.
Yeah, right. Well, I had one person said, which is interesting twist, is that we said it was UFOs because that's what they wanted to hear. It was really secret testing and all this stuff that we didn't want them to know. If they thought it was a UFO, great, let them run down that hole instead of saying it's a government official,
right.
Secret. Right? It's a great ruse, when you think about it.
Well, yeah, I think that's where a lot of the stuff is like, some of this disclosure stuff is intentionally done to keep people to keep running with a false narratives. That way, as long as we keep them tied in, like I said, it's this UFO. They're not going to pay attention that we're testing.
Right?
Yeah.
Just curious. Is there? I mean, I don't remember if you were or not, or either one of you guys. Have any intention to go into or trying to get onto Skinwalker Ranch to do an investigation or work with those guys?
I did the sizzle reel and the pilot for the TV show. I was there before the TV show. I was there for 4 days. And I got pictures too. I guess that's a whole nother podcast. We were trying to sell a show and we did something called a sizzle reel. It's just like you do it up and you make this hot 4-minute tape casting reel and kind of what's there and the possibilities of proof of concept, stuff. And it was cool. I didn't know anything about it. And we pull up and I'm shooting through the window, and these dudes with ARs or fucking gates coming. I'm like, what's going on here? And then we show up into this it's like a trailer home, but I walk in, it's like all teched out. I mean, multi screens, a bunch of folks, and a rich dude who comes in on a helicopter who owns the land. It was all so bizarre. I was like, well, this is a TV show. Hopefully it goes, because it's good. And the land itself, my compass spun on an area. I mean, when does that happen? And there was government testing there for sure. Yeah.
I was gonna say, because it's got to be something in that area, because you've also got that other show that's on there, the Blind Frog Ranch.
Yeah,
it's look, the land is sacred. It surrounds this outcropping of kind of rocks. It has glyphs on it, is little caves. Obviously, it looks like a holy place for Native Americans, and I could tell it was. I mean, yeah, it's cursed. Yeah, people came in and took it all and fucked them up, and I could see it being cursed. And then we uncovered some things on the ground that it looked like, and the ground was not disturbed. We had permission, and then I heard afterwards you shouldn't touch the ground. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So,
by the way,
yeah,
right. So we uncovered this disc. It was like a 1950s like a sci-fi kind of thing. It was from a movie, a B movie. It was like this disc with a thing, and it was pointed upwards, and it was rough. There was like an array of them. And then you find out that the government actually had the land. They were doing a lot of testing there. Something about it. It's magnetic fields. Something about this energy it has. It's real.
Like a portal and a vortex.
I don't know about that, but it's cool there. Yeah. And the lore, just going in with all the the security, it was cool.
Yep.
And I think that's one of those things that's pretty cool about that. It's just like when you see, like when we go with the history side, it's just you see all the picture, that's on the wall, on the rock face and stuff. And that's so something was in this area. Like this was something, because obviously this to take the time to draw, that meant that somebody was there for a period of time. This wasn't like modern day tagging. He didn't.
This place, it's famous for the cows that got mutilated, just perfectly dissected, in the 70s. It was a thing, and still a thing.
There's a place in New York, in central New York, that's been compared to Skinwalker Ranch. Right below Watertown, New York, where Fort Drum is based out of, which is a military base. There's a place called Happy Valley, and it sounds like a great place. But I've been there. I've gone through for a ride, and this has an abandoned village. There's a school, there's a church, there's a graveyard, and it just got abandoned in the middle of I think it was late 1800s. A bunch of cattle started dying. People said the land was cursed. It was a part of a Native American settlement at one point. And I'd taken a ride through there with a couple people that I know that I work with out of Syracuse, New York, and I'll tell you, there's something different about this place, and there's signs that say government land, don't go here. There's things that are hidden there that they said there's sightings of Bigfoot, there's sightings of ghosts, and there's sightings of UFO all in this area. And I was telling Evan about it. I do want to take you for a ride down this road, but I will tell you, man, we've gone down some creepy roads together already. This will make those look like you're going for a ride on Disney. Like
imagine.
Yeah,
dude, it's creepy down there.
You just know when you get into a place, you start feeling the energy, and you just, this is going to get either really good or we're going to be coming out screaming at the end of a movie. Yeah.
And
well, I mean, the first day Evan and I were out, we're walking in the Adirondacks, and we're going through these mountain trails. We're going up these rock faces. We're climbing up. It's raining. I didn't bring a rain jacket. I got a rain jacket. I look like a fat guy in a little coat. I'm like trying to shuffle up this mountain to stay dry. And we get up to the top of this peak, and we're talking about stuff. We're like, look at these caves. There's holes in the ground. And then all of a sudden we turn around, and there's a branch just soaked in blood. And I had the black light with me, and I take the black light and I'm hitting it, and I'm just like, it's glowing green. I'm taking pictures, and Evan's like, should we get an evidence kit? And I'm over there, and I got my gloves, and I just rip it out of the ground. And he's like, or we just take the whole thing with us.
We had to go to the police. Yeah, we went to the police as a crime scene.
Yeah, basically they said because there was no body or foul play shown, that they can't mark it as a missing person, but it did have the metallic smell, which is human blood.
Yeah.
Because animals will have like a sweet, musty kind of because they eat berries, they have a different kind of smell. So the really creepy thing with this though is that after we got off the phone with the cop, the detective, after we stopped recording, he goes, "Well, if you find a body, let us know." And he kind of chuckled. And in that area, there's Bigfoot sightings. Well, where we found the bloody branch is what we call it. There was an outcropping of leaves that were all separated in this large circle, like something had bedded down right next to it.
Mm.
And after talking to one of the guys that I work with from Syracuse, he said that when deer will get hurt, they will actually roll against branches or mud to pack mud into the wound. That's how they heal themselves. They kind of try to
Yeah.
just clog it and get it, cauterized basically in that way naturally. But we never found a body. We found drag points. We found a circled area that had something
Wow.
large laying in it and one
No,
bloody branch.
it's this area he's in is like Twin Peaks. It's like one of these like uh, places that has paranormal Bigfoot, witchcraft, all this upstate New York pagan stuff. It's a lot going on up there, and no one goes up here. This place is depressed, and it's perfect for us.
We're
There's
depressed. You
all
can
these
see it.
1,800 homes that are messed up. There's these swamps who are like, this is amazing,
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a time that, a place that time forgot. And it's great for things like this kind of show. It's because you're like, oh wow, there used to be a house here. Yeah, it's still there. It's been there since the 1700s. Let's go look at it. And when you're in
Right.
places like these large cities, you don't see that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Um,
And stuff
there's
happens.
it's crazy.
The cops said, "Oh, don't go look for it right away." We're creative folks. We say conspiracy. Well, why are they telling us something? We
Yeah.
tried to go back. So I said, "Well, look, if something is that got hurt that bad, it has to be dead somewhere. I mean, that's a lot of blood."
It
And
was a lot.
we went to investigate that night, and we got confronted with a bear. And we crept in. It's and then
He's got the drone up in the air. It's snowing, frozen ice. I got the flash. He's got this light that
yeah, I
looks like
don't
it
want.
belongs in Star Wars. And
I was,
I'm
and
doing
then
this. I'm doing this sweep, and then there's these eyes just looking at us, and we're like,
Yep, got it on tape. And then the storm rolled in, and we couldn't had to leave. Right.
Mhm.
These are things that happen to us that are just they're like, and I don't cut for like 15 minutes. And when all this happens, it's just stuff started happening to us. And it's really cool when coming from a place where there's a shot list or not necessarily when we do investigations, but the TV show in general, and big crew, and then you have just Jack and I with my iPhone and some GoPros and some skills. All of a sudden, you creep into these places and this is magic happens, and it's amazing. We're getting great television. I tell you, the style that we're doing is like the language of film, right? I'm going to tell a story. How am I going to tell it? What point of view? That's what I'm thinking about. It's so perfect to having just Jack and I, because it's not covered well. It's not exposed right because it's just us, and we're like doing all this. But I think that's what the YouTube folks and people in this community very picky. They're very snobby, and they'll turn on you in a second. I know that not personally, but we don't need to worry because we feel the same way, and we're just going to now dish it up in a way that's totally honest and organic, and because we don't cut a lot. And here's the
Well, and
stuff.
the other thing is we're not gonna ever fake anything because people are out there that are spending hours in the freezing cold, in the rain, in the
Yeah,
snow, dealing with animals that we shouldn't be dealing with to get this evidence, and then you have somebody out there who's faking stuff. It angers us as much as it angers you guys. So we're always going to be real with you.
Yeah.
We're gonna show you raw footage. We're gonna
yeah.
show you that it's not cut, that we're not bringing things in. And,
No, why should we?
and the other thing is with it just being me and Evan, it is a lot more dangerous than it is with a large film crew. I mean, the first time
Nah,
we went out in the
Yep.
woods, we were talking and he's like, "Man, like this is different kind of feeling because I'm usually with like 10, 15 people. We got enough, people around us. It's just you and me. It's a whole different like everything's heightened. You can hear more, you can see more, and you witness more. And I think that's the beautiful thing about this show is because it is just him and I and once in a blue moon, a guest investigator where we have just this amazing area to ourselves. And
That's
I'm
right.
excited. I'm excited for the live aspect. Once we get that Starlink going and we got everything going up and live, it's a whole different scenario.
Starlink's going to be a game changer for you guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And they do have a they do have a smaller portable, system. It's still big, but they're getting to the point where it's going to, once you have the Starlink phone, which he's coming out with, because he's tired of all the censorship, then you'll have the Starlink at that point, and then you use it as a hub, and then you're good to go.
That's right.
Yeah, hotspot. Yeah.
Yep.
Everyone's gonna have it. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we literally are we're getting all the tools that, these big corporations with TV shows, 15, 20 people, we could do it with 2 right now. Maybe
That's
not as good, but we're doing it pretty dang good, I think, honestly.
I think that's the beauty of what we've got now, like just stuff like the StreamYard. I mean, before you used to have a studio back you used to have the camera crew, you used to have all this crew, and now production, like I said, you two can go out with your gear and you could put together something that 10, 15 years ago, you actually had to have the backing of Discovery Channel. You had to have had to have somebody throwing big money at it, because you couldn't do it now. Like I said, you literally can create your own pack, go out and do the stuff, and you guys are actually putting out stuff that's just as good as stuff that you would see on any of these programs.
Everyone has a car, but they're not race car drivers, right? You have to be good. You have to be. We're hard workers. I'm up all night. So's Jag. We're obsessed about this project of ours. It's going to be successful because we're just putting out good stuff and we love it. And in between, I'm in Expedition Unknown. I'm on Expedition X. I'm still doing my thing. Jack's still going live on this thing.
Business, and I do. I run a full antique business up here because I'm, if I love old stuff, I sometimes get creepy stuff. I mean, I got a map right here from 1865. I get stuff that's really cool, and sometimes I'll get stuff that might have an attachment once in a blue moon.
And it just happens to come home.
I actually have a request. Do you have any encyclopedias from 1953 or earlier?
I can get them because I do know places that do have them.
Because I remember going to school, public library, and seeing this. I remember the images because I've seen them. There was an Antarctic Accord where they signed a treaty, and every country agreed on it. And after that point, the information about Antarctica totally changed, and there were no more images. There are images of Antarctica that were taken of pyramid-based structures and columns, and it was all that stuff was in the encyclopedia.
Now, what year was this? Because now I want to write this down. Actually, we'll talk. Well, send me an email on this because I will keep an eye out for all of that.
Not a problem. I'll get all that stuff from you guys off air. But every time I go into a place that has antiques, or I always look for encyclopedia 1954 or lower or earlier, like to the 1800s. When the
here in upstate New York, I've taken Evan with me antiquing to show him like some of the prices of things, and he's like, "Dude, you can get it for that? What? You can get it for that?"
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, "Yeah, dude. Nobody knows what they have up here," and they're just like, just the other day, I went out to the thrift store, $5, old bag of stamps, and there were stamps from all the way back to the 1800s in here, and a couple of them were like $40, $50. I paid $10.
He's up in a place that no pickers go up there. It's so dead. So when people they have their estate.
That's why.
Yeah.
There's your next show, guys. Ghost picking. There it is.
Yeah.
Ghost
picking. You know what? I've thought about that. Honestly, that was a segment on TikTok that I did with a couple of my followers for a couple months. And I took them with me in the thrift stores live. And I'm like, hey, do you guys see anything? Because I have people who claim to be mediums, and they're like, "Oh, that doll! Pick up that doll." I'm like, "No, I'm good."
That's cool.
Yeah,
yeah. Annabelle 2.0. No thanks.
One of the best mediums you'll get was in here. Katie Turner.
Nice.
She is beyond good. I mean, look, amazing. But yeah, she's spot on. If she gets to read something.
My sister used to do that when we were growing up. We were used as basically as the
dummies.
Kind of does. Well, we would be sit down because our mom worked for a antique dealer, and so we'd go to like estate sales, and that was me and my sister's job was basically to dig through the boxes of stuff and just find the little. So we were basically just the search dog. They'd be sitting down. We'd be rooms. It's like, how about this, Mom? She'd be like, That's a good one. Just
we'll take that one.
Yeah, because you go down the basement.
I grew up being a construction worker. My father was a lineman for 40 years, and I used to tell him I want to do antique as a business, and he's just looking at me like, oh, okay, yeah, you do what you want to do. And I went out to an auction house up here, and I paid $150 for 750 salt and pepper shakers. And my dad just looks at me. I'm carrying boxes in, and he's laughing at me. And they sold a month later for $10,000.
That's right.
I sold them for over $10 a piece, and my dad just looks at me and goes, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just keep going. He's like, you found it, go. And it was a lady who is one of my good friends now, who lives in Texas, and she's like, I can get $30-$40 for a pair of these, and I'm paying $20. So I'm making money, you're making money, everybody's
Everybody
happy.
makes money. Yeah.
And that's the thing. And with this show, we just launched our merchandise store today in our link tree that's in our profile. And Evan and I are using AI to create these images of these cryptids and these entities, and we're giving them a face to what these stories that have been told. And I grew up on the Akwesasne Mohawk Reservation. My cousin Dave is living out there right now, and honestly, there's a lot of stories. There's the Janoskwa, and actually you'll see there's a image that we brought up. And Dave already messaged me, by the way, Evan. He's like, I'm buying one of those Janoskwa shirts. I freaking love that thing.
Right.
And then there's the Dog Man, and we wanted to, incorporate AI with these stories that we get. And this is actually a magnet that is the Dog Man. It's a really cool interpretation of it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of crazy stories up here. I mean, there's the Hoof Lady, Dogman, Janoskwa. It's insane.
We've got there's a ton of cases we deal with. Central New York. There's ones in the Hudson Valley.
Oh yeah.
And
I love the Hudson Valley.
I guess you guys know Letchworth Village,
Yep.
We did an investigation at the cemetery, and we came back, and I had a personal encounter no more than 20 feet from a dogman sitting on its haunch. And my partner was like, I swear to God. And I had to pee because I didn't want to pee on the cemetery. So I was peeing in front of it. And he's screaming at me, get in the car, Brian, get in the car. I'm like, I got to go. He said, you can do it later. I'm going to leave without you. I'm like, no, you're not going to leave without me. And and long story short, I'm 6'1". I'm on a 3-foot grade. That makes me 9 feet 1 inches tall. This thing sitting on its haunch snout was at my nose.
What?
Yeah.
Jeez. Oh,
and then it lowered itself. And the way I get certain tells, because I do remote viewing, I can do readings, and I get stuff. When I get the goose pimples on an investigation, I know it's getting real. And I got in that car and we pulled out. And the only thing stopping me from, was the machetes on my chest, because that thing was like, I'm going to go teach him who's the boss.
The only time I've ever had a real dogman sighting, like actual visual sighting, I went to a location called Wilson Hill. It's in upstate New York, right out in a town called Louisville. And I was actually there for a paranormal thing because people were talking about a haunted carriage that drove the old road. So I was like, haunted carriage, let's go. This sounds fun. So I went out there. I'm sitting in my truck, and I got my TikTok live. I had the windows cracked down because it started to rain a little bit. And I'm talking to them, and all of a sudden, to the left of me, I see something go like this with the tree, and it kind of looks over and then does that and goes back, and I saw the ears. The ears are what got me. And I was like, what did I just see? And I look back at the live, I'm talking to them. Then to the right, about 30 yards, there's a tree that's fallen over. The roots are there. Same ears again, see something peeking up. And I'm looking left and right, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? So at this point, I'm like, I need to leave. I'm telling my followers this. I look at my rearview mirror, and the ears are behind my truck, like right up on it. And I was like, okay, I'm getting surrounded. They are hunting. This is a pack hunt. They're trying to distract me here. I'm gone. So I ended up bringing a guy that was actually a part of the correctional facility over with me. And he was looking around. We were just kind of like skimming the area. He goes, where did you see this one to the left? I said, right over here. And wasn't it in an embankment 3 feet down? And where I showed him where the limb was, it was 6 feet. So it was around 9 feet tall. Same thing.
Yep.
And we found a paw print. And I have a picture of it. And the paw print, you can actually see the arm part, and you can see that the paw spread out because it crouched behind my truck.
Wow.
Yep.
So that was the time that I saw one.
When you have that dogman encounter, if you get one in front of you, there's always going to be two, and one's going to creep up. One's going to either creep up or Oh yeah.
It's a distraction thing. It's a pack thing.
Fucking hate those things.
Dude,
Jack mentioned he was live doing that and so
Yeah,
that's his game. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love the live aspect, and the thing is, we've had 2 encounters, and I would rather deal with a Bigfoot all day than deal with a dog man. So, the other
Yeah.
one was a gentleman actually owns a hotel restaurant out in Hogansburg, which is on the Mohawk Reservation, and, he told me about one time he was out at a party on his camp, and he had to take a leak, went outside, peed in his trailer, and all of a sudden, he feels breath on the back of his neck, and he said, "All I could smell was rotten fish and meat." He goes, "I couldn't run fast enough," and we went back out there the next day. There were these giant wolf prints, and my cousin Dave's property is adjacent to his, and we have a casting that is 4 times the size of a regular wolf print that Dave got on his property. So we decide, why not? After dark, let's pull up right where he had this encounter. Let's see what happens. So we shut the truck off. We got the lights down. This is the best part that happens. So we're sitting there. We were there for a total of 6 minutes and 30 seconds because we're sitting in that truck. And all of a sudden, the antenna on the top of my truck, which is my ham radio antenna, gets flipped. And all of a sudden, we hear the whole side of the truck get brushed up against. There's hair scratches. This is all video documented too. And the funny part is I had to cut the TikTok live because I didn't realize my cousin Dave brought a 9mm with him. And so all I hear is that bump, flip, and I hear, and I'm like, what the? I'm thinking that somebody's like next to us, and that he cocks this thing. He got it out of the glove box, and I'm like, dude, we need to get out of here. And this is all video documented. And I went to where there was a good lighting area, got out of the truck. The hair scratches were so coarse and thick. I looked for hair. I looked for blood. I looked for anything that I could get of physical evidence. Nothing but the hair scratches.
Yeah,
You're lucky
live.
he didn't shoot
Wow.
it. That's, I can tell you that.
He was on my side too. I'll tell you, I have never moved so fast in my truck.
Yeah, he's doing it. He's doing this live, by the way. And when he does it, he's a storyteller just like this. And this is what kind of hooked me with Jack. Man, I was on one of these just as a viewer, and then it was an interactive. I was helping him doing it, and all of a sudden I felt like I was there. And this is why I'm connected with Jack, because I see the value in that. Let's face it. I mean, these networks they're kind of going under. It's really changing. Now they're finally noticing that those Nielsen ratings are BS. They're looking at the real numbers, who's on their platform and how long they're on certain things. And, this idea, they will go home for a live event. They will drive home and go to see a live event. It has a lot of value. And so this is not new on TikTok either. There's live ghost hunting guys that are very popular, and God bless them. We want to come in and bring storytelling and filmmaking, part of the getting the lore, getting the backstory, and getting these places, the bridge, this, and then going live with it. And now the audience is like, will chime in like they're doing now. I looked at the footage, and did you know that? Oh no, I didn't. And so Jack's he's curating it as he's going. So it's really cool stuff. It's pretty groundbreaking. We're excited.
That's cool.
January 1st, 5 p.m. on our web, on our all platforms. We're gonna be putting out the 1 hour finale.
Are we doing it on all platforms on January 1st, do you think?
I don't know. You tell me.
I think doing it on YouTube, we'll talk about that more. But honestly, I think YouTube is the way to go about, because I mean, YouTube is the big platform. TikTok, I think we put some clippets in there. Eventually, doing a 1 hour video on TikTok is hard. But doing a live video where we take them in and they can watch it live, and we get a premiere on TikTok if they want to watch it that way.
Right.
That's right.
But the cool thing about doing a TikTok live as well is it saves every live that you do, and you can download it and then put it to YouTube. So that's what I used to do, is when I would go live and do these investigations, I would then download them and put them to YouTube. I actually think the Dogman one where I get the truck hit is on I know it's on our TikTok like videos, and then the video is on YouTube. But that way they can go back and they can get the evidence that I missed, if I missed anything.
Well, that's cool. Unfortunately, like I said, me and the man below me have got to get up early for work.
Yeah, let's do it.
But one of the things I would love to have you guys back on at a later time.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Like I said, I had fun. Hopefully you guys did too. That was, like I said,
Thank you again for coming down.
And I shared for everybody on there. I shared the link for your merchandise for everybody and your link tree thing, so that way we can get that.
Awesome. Thank you.
And you gotta watch SV Chronicles. Watch this. It's really, really good.
Yeah, I've put that up a couple times. Like I said, do TikTok and then YouTube. You just go there and just follow those guys. And like I said,
Yeah, we changed it from the SV Chronicles to SVC Explorers of the Unknown. That's the reason we tweaked that. Is actually Josh Gates was talking to Evan one day and said, "What is the show about?" Because there's nothing in the name. You got to have something in the name that draws them in. I was like,
Right.
yeah. And his daughter was actually sitting on the phone, and she goes, "Why don't you just hyphen it and put it to SVC for Stone Vaisey Chronicles Explorers of the Unknown?" I was like, well, there it is. Boom.
There we go.
Yeah.
From the mouth of babes.
Yes,
That's
that aren't
perfect.
babes. Yes.
Yeah, so definitely, Jack, Evan, man, really appreciate it, you guys.
Yep.
Very much.
I said,
We appreciate
best
you having
best
us.
of luck. Like I said, I'm looking forward to following and seeing you guys are posting up these things too. But yeah, definitely, we'll reach out here at a later time, especially starting in the new year sometime. Have you guys back on
anytime, man.
part two.
Anytime. We'll keep
Absolutely.
you abreast on our. Brian will follow us, and if he deems something's worthy, which it should get us on, we could be a part of something too. Something you guys are already having. We have a UFO thing that's bananas. So anything.
Then we have the Gettysburg
Definitely.
Bash. We'll be seeing you guys at.
Yeah, I'll definitely be there, and I'll also get an email from you guys off air so I can send you Evan. I want to send you the video footage I took of the UFOs. I'm
Yes.
not really thrilled with it. It's the best you can get, and then I can talk to you about. I have no problem building small Tesla coils.
Let's do it. Oh yeah.
So we got out of
the only place I draw the line is we're not installing it on my pack.
No.
Yeah.
No unpacks.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Good.
Thanks so
All
much.
right, guys. Well, have a great night. Appreciate it.
Yes. Happy New Year, guys.
Yeah, happy New Year's to you guys. All right, everybody. Once again, thanks for being on the show. Like I said, go check these guys out. SVC Explorers of the Unknown. Go YouTube, go to TikTok, follow that link tree. Help them, support them with the merchandise. Everybody. Once again, really appreciate it. And let's see, what are we going to go out with? Let's go out with the Meta AI one. Since we've been talking about AI. So everybody have a great night. We will see you on the next one. Good night.
Cheers.